back to back.
Yep. All right, cool. Now it's recording.
Okay.
All right. I am so excited, so excited, so excited. Another exciting episode of Legacy Lounge podcast. I have the honey with the money,
That's
Dee
right.
Valentino here. Oh man. Just Dee, like I told you before, you are just a blessing and a joy. And every time I think of you, I just smile and light up. You're one of the first people who I met in Rockford, just, welcomed me, made me feel like just another home, another sense of family and camaraderie. So I just truly, truly, truly appreciate you, Dee.
Well, I feel the same way. I still remember you walking into our meeting and meeting you for the first time, and I was like, this is somebody special. I need to be his friend.
Oh man, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. And I know with you being in the mortgage industry, you said you've been in the mortgage industry for how long now?
26 years since 1999.
1999. I didn't even
Yeah.
know what a mortgage was at that age. Like, oh man, I was still a kid. Just
Yeah, I don't want to know that.
But I know we've talked about like some of the stories. Like, do you want to share like how you got into mortgages? I know that was an eye-opening story for me.
Yeah. So I was married with 3 kids, and my husband died suddenly. Um, and we had purchased our home with, based on 2 incomes. So I needed to get a second job. And this just happened to fall into my lap. I had actually refinanced to take some equity out of my house to help with bills. And the person who did that refinance was not a scrupulous person,
Mm-hmm.
and really screwed me. And I thought, I need to learn how to do this to help people. Because what he did wasn't right. And then it just happened. It was a couple weeks later. I had a friend who said, "Hey, my brother's teaching classes on how to be a loan officer. Would you be interested? You could do it part-time." So I thought, okay, someone's looking out for me. So I went through the class, and the owner of the brokerage, who was not my friend's brother, said to me, "You're a natural at this. You need to do this full time." And I said, no, I'm not ready to do that yet, because it was straight commission.
Yeah.
And I wasn't confident in myself at that time. And she said, "Well, I'm going to create a position for you at the brokerage, and you'll build that confidence up." So I did. I learned all the positions of the brokerage. I learned how to process. I learned how to close. Um, I had my first loan. It was a refinance. I did the thing, where you put the flyer in the grocery store and then you cut the little tabs. So people, that's what I did, and I got my first refinance, and a star was born.
Oh man. Okay.
And I've done other positions. I've worked for a title company. I've been a wholesale lender. I've been a company trainer. Been a junior underwriter. So kind of, all over within the industry.
Yeah.
But it always came back to being, wanting to be right there helping people. Being who they call, who they depend on, because you're not going to call your underwriter if you have a question or to get pre-approved. So that's why I decided to go back to my originating roots a while ago, and I really love it.
Okay. So with you having worked like in so many different areas in the mortgage industry. Like, what's one of those behind the scenes insights that most home buyers don't realize?
Um, well, for instance, like the title on a house,
Hmm.
there could be liens, and the title company will verify what are the current liens. Is it just a mortgage? Are there tax liens? Um, are there liens from the city for overgrown grass or things like that? Mechanics liens. Has that person had work done and not paid for it, and has the contractor put a lien against the house? So those are things that home buyers don't really learn about.
Hmm.
um, but as they go through the home buying process, it's also, I feel that you need to educate them. So
Yeah. Yeah, you out there making people's dreams come true, being able to get that home. So with that being said, like what is like a success story or rewarding moment that you've had?
not everybody has 800 credit scores.
Yeah.
um, a lot of people have life happen,
Hmm.
and um, because of different things happening, their credit isn't where it should be.
Yeah.
um, so I not only, every loan officer wants to have somebody with good credit scores, but um, it takes a certain kind of loan officer that's going to be willing to work with somebody to get them where they need to be, to help them work on their credit, to show them what they need to do. Um, and I do that a lot. I have somebody, we worked together for 2 years to correct their credit. And when we were at the closing table and they got handed the keys to their first home, we were all crying. It was wonderful, because that was a big dream come true. And that's what it's all about when you're working with home buyers. You said it, making those dreams come true. I mean, that is a feel good way of earning money.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things again is like, your heart to serve and your approach and just, always being there with a smile or even like a joke of the day or things like that. So I was always curious, like what what happened to make you tailor your approach that way? Because again, you were saying like you worked with somebody for 2 years and you got people who would just kick them off to the curb and just say, hey, come back to me when it's done, and not really guide them to that goal. So like what happened to make you take that approach?
um, I I want to say it's the way I was raised. My family, it always puts is always helping and putting others first. I watched my mom and dad. I watched my grandparents. Um, and my first father-in-law told me something that has stuck with me. You get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. I love that saying, and I live by that. You know, um, if I'm in a position to help,
Hmm.
that's what I want to do. Whether it's through my job or through volunteering, um, you know, you're doing great, even when you're not doing great. You don't know what you are to somebody else. To
Mm,
that smile could be something that they really needed just to get them through their day. You don't know what other people are going through,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
always good.
It's like how you said, a lot of times life happens. So I know, like with me, even being in the financial industry, a lot of times people focus like just on the numbers on the paper. And, I don't judge because I'm just like, again, life happens. The numbers tell a story. And this is not the end, it's just like a moment in time. Because, like, numbers change, your credit score can improve. You were in a financial hardship yesterday. Now things have gotten better. So, I never wanted to judge people. And I'm glad that, even with you, you're like, hey, this is the situation, but let's do what we can to improve it.
When my first husband passed away, I didn't even have money to bury him.
Mm,
He had no life insurance, um, and he had gone through our savings. Um, so I had people step in for me, um, that gave me money, that got me donations, um, to be able to bury him.
mhm.
Um, so when you see that, and a lot of times you may see that as a kid but don't understand it until
Yeah,
you reached adulthood, and that was very eye-opening, to me at that point in my life. That was, um, the worst time of my life and also the best time of my life, because I made, lifelong friends based on that event. And I'm still very close, um, with my husband's family. My sister-in-law and my nephews, who are the only ones left as part of that family, and cousins. We're still really close.
yeah.
So yeah.
Hey, so it seems like there's like a reoccurring theme of family and just like the importance of family in your life and
Mhm.
how like that foundation that they instilled in you shapes you and how it's how you react to people and how you help and guide them. That is just absolutely amazing. So getting back into like the industry, like is are there things that are exciting you, like something that's happening in the industry that's exciting that you keep your eye out for?
Well, right now we are starting to see more inventory come. Houses come on the market for sale.
Okay.
It's been really, really bad, especially in our area. But there are areas throughout the country where the inventory is really, really low. Um, and the Rockford area is one of the worst areas, but we're also one of the best areas to live in.
Mhm.
Um, you know, for the housing, our prices are increasing in this area, but you really get a lot of house for your money. And the neighborhoods are being developed. We've got a great downtown. It's an overall great area to live in. So I'm excited that we're starting to get new construction, and that people are listing their homes. So
Okay.
yeah.
Any advice for like a first time home buyer?
Um, you need to talk to a really good loan officer right away, aka me.
Yeah.
Uh, it's important to get pre-approved. Um, even if you're on the fence, or you think you're going to wait for rates to go down, well, the values are steadily increasing. So, um, waiting for the rates to go down, you may be paying more for a house, so it's kind of a wash. Um, but anybody the first time home buyers, and look into possible grants. There are grants available in all the different states, and that's something that a loan officer will help a buyer with.
Yeah. So
So
do you think that prices are going to come down? Because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just going to wait, and every day I'm like, well, it's getting more expensive.
yeah, I don't foresee that real soon.
Hmm.
Years. That's my personal opinion. And I my magic 8 ball is in the cleaners right now. So, um, but I see, especially with the kind of housing shortage that we have throughout the country, that the prices are not going to go down. Now, if there's a surplus, they may stay steady or may decrease, but right now I don't see it.
Mm, yeah, so it's probably not the best decision. Well, I'm not exactly sure, what to tell people if they're like, well, I'm gonna wait, or if I'm just gonna jump into it now. I feel like there's a lot of pieces that need to be looked at in that process before somebody just goes and makes that decision.
Right. And, home buyers, you have to have steady income. You have to have a 2-year work history. Doesn't have to be at the same job, but you have to be able to prove that that you have that work history, or that you have a combination of school and work history. If you've gone to college for 2 years or 4 years, and now you're whatever you went to college for, you're now starting a job. Well, we can use that schooling as job history.
Okay.
So you have to look at your debts. You have to look at your assets. And those are all the things that working with a loan officer, um, that's the putting that together to get you pre-approved. Those are all things that we look at. Um, and maybe if every we all like low debt ratio, great scores, good assets, but that's that's not what works. What a lot of people have, I should
Yeah.
say. So that's why it's important to get talking to a loan officer right away, so that you can figure out together what you need to do to make your home buying dream come true.
Okay. So, man, that is was beautifully said, honestly.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this, because you're saying being in the industry since 99, and just your approach and everything. Like, what is some advice that you would give to people looking to come into your industry?
Right now, I would say start part time, have some kind of steady income coming in, because it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a couple of years to build your book of business.
Yeah.
Um, so you want to start slow uh, to get it into it. But really, there's nothing like, again, we're making dreams come true. So it's a great industry to be in. Loan officers, I would say most loan officers are paid commission only. So very rarely, maybe if you work at a local bank, you might get a salary, or a salary plus commission, but um, most loan officers, it's strictly commission.
Yeah. And I know a big part of that, like how we met, is networking.
Networking,
So,
yep.
again, just one of the best people I know when it comes to networking. Like, what tips could you share so that people can like form better relationships, build that network, so that they can build their clientele?
Well, I mean, sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid to talk. Um, you're your best salesperson, and you have to show people what you can do. So and um, when I walk into a networking event or a meeting, um, just like the actors or actresses, whatever I got going on in my personal life, whatever's bothering me, that gets put aside because I'm here. I have to concentrate on the reason that I am walking into that meeting, walking into that event. So you have to put everything else aside. And you hear about actors or actresses saying that when they're putting on a show or whatever, it
Mhm.
all gets left behind, and they're performing. I mean, when you're in sales, that's what you're doing. You're performing.
Yeah. Do
So
you have like a maybe like a top one or two tips? Because one of the things that you do, D, like you make an impact. You tell a joke, you smile. Because I've been to a lot of networking meetings where it's just like, here's what I do, tell me about what you do, here's a business card, and that really doesn't go anywhere. So like, what is it that, if you can, I don't even know if you can like capture lightning in a bottle, or give your secret formula to just help people make a great first impression and a lasting impact.
I use humor a lot, and you know that.
Yeah.
Um, it works. It breaks the ice. It makes people realize that you're human too. Because I mean, when you're walking into a networking event or a meeting where you don't know anybody, it's scary, you
Yeah.
know. So have a smile on your face. Don't come in all grumpy. Be approachable. Approach people. Um, those are, those are tried and true things that a good networker does. But yeah, I like to crack a joke or two, and they're never original. I will say that. Um, I know you know this, but my husband and I have in our vows, he has to tell me a new joke every day. I have to promise to laugh at it. So some of those jokes are from him. Or if I've
Mhm.
drawn a blank and I know that I'm heading into a meeting, I will call him and say, okay, I need a good joke.
Yeah.
Just give me something.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's an icebreaker. You have to have an icebreaker. And the smile, a smile is the best icebreaker.
mm, mm. Man, that's like a perfect tagline for a dentist. So if any dentists are gonna watch this, oh man, D, you just probably built their business for the next.
I better get a commission on that.
Yeah, you should. You should. Oh man. And I know, even with our time together, you always had ideas and always been inspiring. Like, how do you inspire people to really take action and to dream bigger?
Oh, um, well, as far as home buying, I lay out the steps. You need to do this to get to this, to get to this, to get to this, to get the keys to your new home.
Yeah.
So, it's giving people direction, teaching. I like teaching. I should have been a teacher. I feel like I should have been a teacher, um, because I enjoy um, educating is empowering.
Mm. Yeah.
And um, I I feel that with my experience in the mortgage industry, um, I've gotten a lot of education, and I'm still learning. But there are scenarios that I happen to been thrown in my lap, and if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find the answer.
Yeah.
The one thing about the mortgage industry is, as big as it is as small as it is. Um, the loan officers in the Rockford area, we have a Facebook page. It's called Lenders Night Out. And we bounce questions, scenarios, ideas off each other through that page. And we try to get together once a month, once every other month. And we talk shop. And you're not going to believe this is what I ran into. And, oh, how did you resolve that? So it's all about education and continuing to learn.
Yeah. That's really good. And then it made me think about, like, again, how you was talking about like your foundation with your family, and then like how you're always like the stuff that you're learning and being an educator, being a teacher, passing that on. Like I'm curious to know, like, is there a certain lesson or a life principle that like your family watching you that you want to just drop in them and make sure that they have and that they know?
That's it's funny that you say that. My daughter was a terror to raise. She has uh, 5 children of her own, and 2 stepchildren. Um, and she's realizing that the things that she saw with me and the what I taught her, she is now using.
Mm.
Um, so, and that really makes me feel good. And I get a little chuckle. um, that, and my mom lives with me. My dad lived with us until he passed away. But, um, I see myself doing a lot of things that my mom did.
Mm.
And, sometimes you kind of step back and think, whew, it's like deja vu
Yeah.
almost, with the way that things continue on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. So looking at it both ways, right? So what is a piece of advice that you would give your younger self? And then like what's a piece of advice you would want the future generations to have?
Um, I I think I've always been confident in myself,
Mhm.
but um, it hasn't always come through that way. I've always believed in myself, I should
Mhm.
say, but maybe the confidence hasn't been there. So I wish I would have been more confident in myself in my younger years. I've always been outgoing. In high school, I wasn't the honey with the money, but I was Disco D.
Okay.
And I was in a lot of dance contests. And um, so I've always had an outgoing personality.
Mhm.
And I think that has helped me in all aspects of my life. Um, you have to be able to take chances once in a while.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but you do. And I think that has, um, with my kids and my stepkids, um, that's, you know, and my friends, surround yourself with the people that most reflect who you are, um, in business and personal. I have a tribe of girls that I know I can depend on them for anything. We've all been through life, and we've all been there for each other. And it's important to, like I said, it's important to surround yourself with people who are going to teach you,
Yeah.
um, and who you can teach.
Oh man, that is so close to. I was thinking about this. I was really thinking, meditating, and praying on this the other day, and I said, you know what? It's very simple. Every day, I'm looking for someone who I can help and someone who can help me.
Mhm.
And so, for you to say that, I'm like, oh man, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. So, I know with this being the Legacy Lounge podcast and my company, Gordon Legacy Consulting, let me ask you this, Dee. What does legacy mean to you?
Um, leaving leaving something that people will remember, whether it's, an impression, whether it's something physical, um, whether it's a feeling. It encompasses all of that. It's
Yeah.
being remembered for who you are, what you did. Yeah, that's what it means to me.
Okay. And I got one last question. This is more for me, more personal, because are you coming out with a recipe book?
I have been asked that many times, and I have been asked to, do, videos on cooking, because yes, I love to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I love to dance, and I definitely love to dance while I cook.
Okay, man. Because I remember it was the Thanksgiving before last, and we were talking about the stuffing muffins and everything. And
Yep.
yeah, great, great idea.
Mhm.
And I know there's more. I know you got more.
There is now, my family had a catering business in the 80s and 90s. We started the business, it was party catering, chicken, beef, mustacholi. Um, but my dad was a women's fashion designer in the 60s and 70s, and had connections in California because he had, designed, for, some movies and things out in California. And so he called up one of his friends, was a producer, and said, "Hey, when you come to Chicago to film, who feeds you?" And they said, "Well, we usually hire a local caterer." And that's how we got started, feeding film crews and actors and actresses, um, in the movie industry in, Chicago. And then my parents moved it to Florida, but I grew up, I was in a kitchen. I can cook for two, or I could cook for 2,000. Doesn't make any difference. But yeah, I learned quickly. Um, I grew up with my grandmothers and my aunts and stuff cooking, and watching them in the kitchen. But I definitely developed a lot of my skills with my mom, when we had the catering business.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's there is so much just like rich history there. Like, are you doing anything to like preserve, record it at all? You know,
You know,
look.
my mom actually wrote a book about um, their years in the catering business, and there are some really really funny stories.
Oh man.
Um, so, and then there are other stories that didn't make it into the book that are a little off color, but but fun.
Yeah.
Um, and so she has her legacy in
Mhm.
that book, which we're hoping one day to get published. She had tried a couple of times, and nothing became of it. But that was a while ago. So my sister and I are going to try and get it published for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you help people get homes with mortgages.
Mhm.
You cook, you dance. What is next for the honey with the money?
I don't know. I mean, I, I love doing what I'm doing. I don't see myself anywhere near retiring soon. There's so much to give.
Mhm.
Not so much to do, but there's so much to give.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Somebody recently somebody recently told me, in order to live, you gotta give. And for you to say like there's so much to give, man, man, oh man.
Mhm. And and I'll be honest, I think you learn that
Hmm.
as you get um, older, not so much in your teens or your 20s,
Hmm.
I think, but um, as you really become into adulthood, I think you learn that there's so much more reward in giving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So is there any last message that you want to leave the audience with, and let them know where they could find you?
Well, I'm with Waterstone Mortgage, and I'll give you my cell number because that's the easiest way to get a hold of me, and it's 630-292-4595. Um, I'm not a 9 to 5 person. I work weekends, I work nights because you have people who decide at all hours of the day and
Yeah.
night
Yeah.
that they want to get pre-approved. I also do refinances. I can do loans throughout the United States, just not New York, Hawaii, or Rhode Island, but anywhere else. For if you're going to live in the house, if you want to buy a vacation house, if you want to buy an investment property, those are all things that I can do, and we can talk up to 4 units. So if you want to buy a 3 flat or a 4 flat and become a landlord, I, I'm happy to help with that. I have a lot of experience. Um, been through, it's 26 years, so
Yeah.
that's. But like I said, still learning. But I I love what I do, and I'm good at it.
Yeah, you definitely are. So I will say to anybody, if you reach out to Dee, just expect that high level of expertise, but also expect just like a warm touch and a friendly feel, and be ready to laugh along the way. Just have an amazing time. Oh man, it's like the laughter and the process of getting your home, because you know, like that process can be not so fun with the paperwork and everything, but having someone such as yourself to make it easier for us, it is an absolute blessing. Dee, I truly, truly, truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for being on this. And to everybody watching, bye-bye. Have a great day.
Bye.
Oh.